maybe it'd have been better to have played it into the body.
I feel like 9 times out of 10, that's what we see from the professionals. When the ball's up high, hitting it right at the body of the opponent, they just don't have time to decide which side. Quality counter here. She's hanging on. And now a game point for Bergstrom.
She got an excellent length on that backspin. Right on the white line, and then followed that in with that counter top spin.
Oh, steady loop, patient play, but Feng Tianwei keeping the pressure on deep to the backhand. Now, in terms of experience, it tends to favor players in moments like this. Feng Tianwei, years of experience on Bergstrom. Oh, the parallel counter. Bergstrom's percentages on these forehand counterattacks have been so good. Look, you can't clap high enough to show your support. She was on her toes there with her hands over her head. Game point once again, the second game point for Linda Bergstrom of Sweden. Oh, from below the table, Bergstrom, she takes game number 1, 12-10. Quite a suspenseful back and forth game 1. And the underdog, the younger player, the hometown favorite, Linda Bergstrom, starting off this best of 5 with the first game. Pretty exciting stuff here, Jill.
It certainly was. And she played that one well, because she took it way below table height, which is always difficult to do and make contact with, but she spun it up and played well there.
Yeah, I was quite impressed. She kept it right at the baseline of the table, too, as you mentioned. From under the table, very difficult, but she's been really precise in her shots.
She's been very consistent with defence. She hasn't really made a lot of unforced errors, and that's important for a defender. If you can tie it down and keep it tight with defence and come in with the occasional attacking ball, keep your opponent guessing. Don't let them get into a rhythm. So she's played that first game really well.
Second game.
And this is what it's going to take throughout. I think this sort of focus, being on the hunt for the attack, looking whenever she can to get in with that forehand. Another one off the top of the net here, but she's keeping her chops really low and varying up the placement quite well. You know, for me on the World Tour, I don't see Linda Bergstrom making it to the TV matches so often, but she's definitely proving herself competitive out here right now. That's a shot that we've seen attempted a few times, but it's just going to be really tough to count on. The long pips attack, especially when you're behind the table. Pretty bold play, I'd say.
Yeah, that's difficult to play when you're away from the table like that, to try and attack the ball with long pin pulls.
This is a perfect setup, a little bit of a strawberry mid-rally, bringing some side spin aggressively out to the forehand. Feng Tianwei chasing the ball. Look at that setup. And Feng Tianwei was trying to cover the other side. It seemed like the more obvious choice for where the ball would go. Yeah, in terms of missed shots, we just haven't seen as many as you mentioned from Bergstrom. Feng Tianwei's had a little bit more trouble in the variation of spin that Bergstrom's bringing back.
Yeah, she doesn't seem to be quite settled in, and I think with a variation of what Bergstrom is doing.
I mean, it's still early in game 2, but if Linda Bergstrom goes up 2-0, that's really tough for Feng Tianwei. There's that shot again, the attempted topspin. For those of you a little bit newer to table tennis, pips or pimples, depending on which part of the world you're in, are a defensive rubber in general, especially long ones, like Linda Bergstrom is using. Her style, the chopping game, And basically it means you don't control the spin quite as much, so it's easier to just allow your opponent's attack to come back reversed. It's very difficult to attack with it.
I mean, I think if she's caught with a long pin pull, she's either got to defend.
And there she made it for the first time. But generally speaking, I mean, you and I agree on that. It's the way to go is defend or twiddle the racket if you have to.
Exactly.
But this one sits up, it's closer to the net, she can play it flat. You just can't rely on it for spinning when you're far from the table, hitting topspin.
No, it's a lot easier because you've got to hit right through it with pin pulls, and you can only really do that over the table.
That's right. Exhaling stress out here, Feng Tianwei down 3-5. She's used her serves effectively. I think the long dead serve to the backhand.
4-5.
Here a little bit more to the middle of the table, but the lengthy serve with placement, some good speed.
I'm surprised that Feng Tianwei's not playing Bergstrom more into the middle of her body.
Yeah, me too. There she goes, 2 in a row.
Must have heard us.
Jill with the pill. That's what they call her on the streets. I don't know. I don't know if that's the table tennis streets.
Right, I'm glad you said table tennis street.
Anyone need some advice from Jill quickly? Now, while playing to the middle of the body is going to be effective, just like against an attacker, it's the sweet spot in the opponent's game to shut them down. It's going to be a little bit tougher sometimes. You've got less length of the table here, and Feng Tianwei, we've seen, have some trouble with the spin variation, keeping the ball on the table. Timeout here. Interesting time. Let's see.
Timeout. Singapore.
We usually see timeouts. You know, I was reading an article on timeouts the other day, and we do tend to see them earlier and earlier in the matches. But usually you see it when someone either has a lead and is losing it. Ultimately, it needs to be called when you think it will change the outcome of the match.
I'm not sure who called that timeout, whether it was Feng Tianwei or the coach.
Yeah, me neither. I would guess Feng Tianwei, but as always, I could be wrong. I think sometimes a more experienced player, and just since timeouts are a thing right here in a team's event, you've got the bench involved as well if you want. Yu Meng Yu is probably going to be the only other player to speak to Feng Tianwei because everyone else is so much younger than her. But Yu Meng Yu, as you can see, quite actively involved in this timeout. I think we saw a lot of conversation about the push game. Now, one thing Feng Tianwei is very solid at is blocking. I mean, she's used to these quick-paced rallies. You know, she's beaten Liu Shiwen on several occasions. Not so many non-Chinese or non-Chinese national team players can say that. So we'll see if she's going to get clever with the push, try to get Linda Bergstrom a little bit off balance, earn a spinny ball to counter back. Wow! Honestly, that was almost exactly what I described, but I didn't imagine it would go that way. That was the long pips of the backhand. That's a very difficult... I mean, I wouldn't even consider that a winning strategy, but it worked here, 1 for 1, right out of the timeout. Blocking a ball that's hit flat with almost no spin. So difficult to do. Back edge of the table. Feng Tianwei recovered the net in this rally. Bergstrom has had a few breaks here, but she's played consistently well throughout, so it's not to say that it's simply the breaks. Wow, timing.
Actually, there have been quite a few nets and edges in this match so far.
Yeah, I think a little bit of an imbalance. There's that long dead serve again. Feng Tianwei's changed up her placement quite well. She got the backhand receive in a pushing receive. It's rare to see a backhand from the forehand side. We see that more for the Chiquita, the banana flip. Bergstrom hasn't missed too many of those counters with the forehand, Jay.
Yeah, that was a slower spinny ball there from Tianwei, and Bergstrom couldn't quite get over the ball. enough, so made that error.
You see her trying to use that side spin. It's worked quite well for her so far. Again, just a rare occasion for Bergstrom to miss a few shots. But Feng Tianwei seems to be changing things up and finding pressure points in the opponent. Now a 2-point lead with the serves on her side. Oh, outstanding play. It was a bit of a deja vu from a few points ago until about the last 3 shots of that rally. So now 3 game points for Feng Tianwei. This is a better receive. She goes for the forehand receive. It's that push we were talking about before. Gets into the heavy chopping game. 3rd towel break. Now in terms of rotation and variation on it, from under the table, it's tough for Feng Tianwei to see the contact. She has a little bit less to go on, still the arm motion and watching the ball itself. But usually when you're talking about reading the opponent's spin, watching the ball itself is sort of a last resort. There it is, Feng Tianwei with the heavy spin, takes the game 11-8, ties it up at 1 game apiece, so the pressure has evened out. We will see. Experienced Feng Tianwei with a quite impressive home crowd favorite, Linda Bergstrom, the chopper in blue. Game number 3 coming up right after this.
Thank you.
Det kan vara svårt direkt och så måste nästa boll gå själv. Nästa. Skapa energi. Nästa boll, skapa energi.
Welcome back for game number 3. Linda Bergstrom there with the serve at the bottom of the screen, representing Sweden here in front of the home crowd, tied up 1 game apiece. This is good patience. Feng Tianwei plays everything soft and spinny in this rally. Sort of counts on Linda Bergstrom not having an easy attack, especially from behind the table. If the ball doesn't sit up high, that's not an easy ball to counterattack. Again, we've seen her make this shot a few times, but the last few tries, it's felt a little bit forced, the moments, you know?
It's as if she feels she's got to be doing something, and really she can just be patient.
Right. As a defender, that tends to be the game, right? Patient play.
Just wait for the right one.
Oh, the top edge of the racket. I want to see that chop from down low again. It looked like it might have gone around the net. You could hear the gasp in the crowd. This is a little bit later in the point. Across the body there. Just a little bit late, top edge of the racket. But yeah, patient play. It's usually the attacker who needs to remind themselves to be more patient against the chopper. There's that flat hit. You can hear that soft sound of the sponge in the long pips, and she attacks that with little to no spin.
And she steps in well there. Good placement there into the body. Had a lot of time to decide where to play that ball. Good positioning.
1-4.
It feels like that timeout that Feng Tianwei had, and the timeout on the other side here, Peter Sart's calling it. I think this is a good time because tactically, Linda Bergstrom right now is struggling a bit. You can see that she's looking to change things up. The pressure that you talked about to do something to create a bit of a bigger shot instead of playing patiently, and it's Feng Tianwei who seemed very much in control from the start of this game.
Yeah, I think that was a good time out there from Peter Sartz. I think he feels he's perhaps trying to do too much. You know, just settle down a little bit more. I don't feel as though you should be under pressure to make these attacking shots. Step back, trying to control it with defence and come in with the attack to break it up.
Such a fine balance. It's also so interesting how some people perform really well when they're pumped up and they're just filled with adrenaline, and others find themselves making more, I don't know, careless errors or just losing points quickly when they're not so calm. Right now, Feng Tianwei seems very calm and comfortable in the pushing game. She's not in a rush.
1-4.
As a chopper, Linda Bergstrom surely knows that a rally can last 100 shots, and if you win the point, it's all worth it. The short side of the table a little bit too short here. So we still haven't seen the positive effects of the timeout come into play. I agree with you. I think it was a good time for a timeout. You recognize your player seems a bit flustered. Maybe letting a point or two go quicker than usual.
The counter-top spin there by Feng Tianwei. Took that ball early. Off the bounce.
I feel like when I was talking earlier about Feng Tianwei's game, how she's really comfortable in the quick pace and the blocking, we're starting to see that out here now. She keeps it deep. Linda Bergstrom's attacks. Wow. Then she cracks one with the long pips. Just going to say, though, a spinny forehand from Linda Bergstrom. If it's deep on the table, Feng Tianwei's comfortable to stay in control. This shot right here, nothing you can do about that. And now even the spinny forehand, it's a little bit deeper. From below the table she takes it, arcs it up. Still a long way to go, but we see a little bit more, I don't know, morale boost here. A little bit more confidence coming from Bergstrom. Everything right in this point from Bergstrom. The placement on the attacks, the side spin on that last deep chop into the body. So now 7-4. That side spin again, it carries a bit long. Her percentages have been less than in the first game, but a bit back and forth. So second towel break, Feng Tianwei up by 4 right now. See the focus here. Linda Bergstrom going through her plan in her mind. And having that specific plan is so important. To be clear from the start of the points. Sets it up well, looks for the opportunity to attack into the body. You can see that elbow coming up of Feng Tianwei, a very uncomfortable ball to try and stay on top of. Oh, wow. This is a tough shot to begin with, but she takes it. No chance to return that one. I think this is the second faintest edge we've seen so far, Jill.
It certainly is. And she took the ball so late as well on the forehand. That was a difficult shot, that.
Yeah, looking at that, I feel like that's certain shots you see someone miss and you say 9 times out of 10 they'd make it. This one almost the opposite. As soon as she took that shot, you thought, ooh, not the best shot selection, but she made it.
8-7.
Was it 6-1 before?
She was a long way up. I just find Feng Tianwei, she's such a different player when she's miles ahead. And then when it gets close, she gets very tentative.
That seems like the more common, right? You know, under pressure, people starting to tense up or question themselves a bit, especially if you did have a lead. Just short. A little bit flatter shot there from Feng Tianwei, and the Chole comes out deep to the corner. It's a much fuller swing on that last one. Brings out the racket speed, goes up by 2. No, once again, deja vu. Turns the corner, but forgets to lock the front door, and Feng Tianwei sneaks in. 3-game points once again. Sits up a bit. I think she really has to take that ball to the middle next time, at least give it a try.
Yeah, middle or very wide. Just straight to her bat. But she's committed herself.
There we go, right down the line. The cracking forehand saves a game point. I couldn't believe Feng Tianwei kept that loop on the table after the ball clipped the top of the net. Looked like it might have gotten a second bounce. Like it could have anyway. It was very close to the back edge of the table when Feng Tianwei looped it up. What time is it? Game time. 2 game points left for Feng Tianwei here. She has the serves on her side. Oh!
11-8.
Well, that's a way to end the game. Top of the net, it dribbles over. Feng Tianwei, I think, still has a few in the bank in terms of nets and edges, but they're getting closer and closer. Tough loss in game number 3 for Bergstrom, but it's not over yet, and this best of 5 will be back for game number 4 right after this.
Fourth game.
Back for game number 4. Feng Tianwei up 2-1 over Sweden's Linda Bergstrom. The chopper on the top of the screen on the receive. Now that's the one that I don't think we've seen come down yet. The bit flatter shot from behind the table with the long pips. When it's in near the table and she tucks and uses the wrist for a winner, the percentages have been incredible, but that's, as you mentioned, pretty much the only time to play the long pips attack. Smart play, I think, from Bergstrom. When she gets the side spin out wide to the forehand, it opens up the other corner of the table. She's made that attack a lot in combination.
She's mixing the balls well, defending with no spin, backspin, coming into attack. She's only a young player, and I think it takes a little while for defenders to really develop their game.
Yeah, I was thinking about the European women that we've seen. I mean, there are a lot of European women that are, you know, a bit more experienced, even in their mid-30s, that have, feels like, held quite high world rankings. And actually, even in the men's game, I mean, Joni's feet loose. These are not young players. The top choppers, Ju Se-hyuk was the top chopper in the world pretty much until he retired. Looking mid to late 30s.
Yeah, but then if you think a defender has got not only practice the defensive strokes, they've got to practice
5 love.
their attacking strokes as well. And you know, if you're twiddling, or if you've got different rubber reverse and long pimples, then if you twiddle, you've got to learn to to defend with the reverse rubber and the long pimple rubber.
Love 6.
Yeah, it's interesting in the Gioni's case as Feng Tianwei goes into the towel break here, having not dropped a point yet. Gioni said that he watched Chen Wei-shing only attacking with his forehand. He only played topspin with his forehand, and he decided he was going to go to an offensive blade and play the same style. And since then, you almost never see him chop with his forehand.
Well, that's obviously talent, isn't it?
Love 7.
I think it's definitely that, but it's also a decision. And it's something that I'm trying to think in the women's game. You've got Wu Yang, you've got Se Hyo-won, you've got Li Jie, you've got a lot of choppers that play aggressively from the forehand often, but not like topspin only.
7.
All those previous choppers mentioned still chop sometimes with their forehand. First point here, we saw her last game make a big comeback. But still, this is I'd say a longer, darker tunnel here. Feng Tianwei with 6 points between them.
But I think in the women's game,
8.
you can
1.
defend more. In the men's game, you know, if you're just defending a large part of the time, you're not going to be successful.
Yeah, I think there are a handful of reasons for that.
1, 9.
Generally, the women's game a bit faster, closer to the table, less about power and put-away shots, but also turning the corner, leaving open the table would require some fast steps to get back to the other side. It's a little bit riskier.
1, 10.
So now 9 game and match points for Feng Tianwei to put one in the bag for Singapore. Take the first point. A team only needs 3 matches, and then it is over. It's all singles. There are no doubles in this tournament. And next, what? Yu Meng Yu and Matilda Ekholm?
That's correct.
Oh, beautiful shot off the bounce. And Feng Tianwei takes the match. The first match on the TV table goes to the Singaporean legend, Feng Tianwei. What a performance from Linda Bergstrom. Respect. I think we'll be seeing her climbing in the world rankings and definitely developing over the years. But I was quite impressed, Jill.
Yes, I thought she played really well. I mean, she's never played Feng Tianwei before, so it's all new to her. But, I mean, I think she's a player to look forward to for the future.
Little fun fact, in that last point was the first time that I can recall in that entire match that she made the flat counter with the long pips from behind the table. She actually got it into play, but then Feng Tianwei right back into her game on top of the bounce. And I believe there's going to be an on-court interview with Feng Tianwei if everything goes as we've been notified, so that'd be quite exciting. You know, Feng Tianwei speaks a bit of English and also Mandarin fluently. So we will see. Here's the lineup on screen. Yu Meng Yu and Matilda Ekholm coming up next. Should be an exciting match. That one could go either way. Yu Meng Yu, I'd say, has had some very strong wins over the years, but has also had some tough losses. And Matilda Ekholm is no stranger to experienced victories between T2 and all sorts of other stuff. I believe she's in Season 2 of Ultimate Table Tennis for India coming up in June. So, a lot of excitement here with Matilda Ekholm, who, as we mentioned before, at 35 years old, has really stepped into her game and maybe found the best playing of her career. Maybe she's at her peak right now and could still be on the way up. We'll enjoy the highlights for a few moments. Interview or no interview, we've got more table tennis coming up for you in just a bit. Stay right here.
Matilda.
就是因为只有这次会。对。
Hi, Feng Tianwei. Warm welcome to the World Team Championship. So how was your feeling after finishing your first match? 欢迎你来到2018世界杯团体赛。那刚刚打完第一场比赛，你觉得怎么样？
第一场可能有一些紧张吧，因为也没有适应过这个场地，我觉得，所以一上来整个感觉节奏稍微有点不一样，跟想象当中的，所以第一局和第二局比较困难。后来第三局、第四局逐渐适应了。
Actually, I was a bit nervous because it's my first time to be playing on this court. So in the first set and second set, I didn't adjust myself best to the tempo and to the rhythm. But after that, finally, I controlled the tempo. So how was your feeling by losing the first set? 因为你第一场比赛之后，第一局输了嘛，然后当时你有没有觉得特别困难？
对，因为第一局输了以后，觉得整个局面好像有点很紧张，有点困难，所以自己还是做了一些充分的困难准备吧，在赛前，所以及时的调整过来。
So I was a bit nervous after losing the first set, but then I tried to change myself, and I've already had mentally prepared for the difficulty. So finally, I won it. Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed those words from Feng Tianwei. Welcome back to the second match of the day in this overall team match between Sweden and Singapore. I'm Adam Bobrow, with me Jill Parker. Jill, what do you have on Matilda?
Wow, these two haven't played each other before, so that would be interesting. I would have thought they would have played each other at some time on the world circuit, but no results to date, so...
Yeah, that is surprising. I mean, they both had some years on the World Tour, and that is not Feng Tianwei, but Yu Meng Yu on the screen. Sure, they'll get that corrected shortly. Feng Tianwei will not be playing again unless needed. So I've had the opportunity, the privilege to receive Matilda Ekholm's serves before, and I will say